Okay, so it's decoration I was talking about. Decoration. So it's nothing but a people leaf of the dimensions 5.8 centimeter by 5.8, 4.7, long, wide, and thick. So it is 3.3 centimeters. So these are the dimensions. You should not worry. But made up of bronze. This may be sometime necessary, right, in order to know in detail about it. Right. So this would be the case which we can consider. Right. So India's highest civilian award given by government of rather presented by government of India started in 1954, right? Presented for the exceptional public service and the rarest achievements in the field of art, literature, science, right? Even just a minute. Learn the dimensions also. Okay, fine. Thank you, Akshay. So this would be the case which you can consider about the Bharat Ratna. See, there are a lot of things which we can consider about it, but I think, in my opinion, you yourself should now consider other things which are necessary. But what I can suggest that you should know the recipients, right? Almost more than half of the recipients you must be knowing even at this particular moment as well. Anyway, the next one which we can consider here is the Padma Awards, right? Padma Awards. Fine. Padma Awards. Now you know the highest civilian awards. So these are again in the row of highest civilian awards. So these Padma Awards, which we do have categorized as Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan, and Padma Shri, right? So the Padma Awards further categorized as Padma Vibhushan for what it is given. Then second is Padma Bhushan for what it is, and third one is Padma Shri, right? Padma Shri. Fine. So these are the Padma Awards which are which we can consider for the which are considered as the highest civilian awards, right? So one of the, or you can say Bharat Ratna is the highest one. This is second highest, right? Then you can say third highest and the fourth highest civilian awards as far as India's national awards are concerned, right? Or India's Padma awards are concerned, or simply civilian awards are concerned. Now, for what it is given, right, or for what these awards are given. So, the Padma Vibhushan is given for distinguished uh, for distinguished and in fact exceptional service. Now see, the services or the fields are same for all these awards. So I will be writing them all together below these this particular title, right? Because it is common to Padma Vibhushan, common to Padma Bhushan, and common to Padma Shri. Fine. So which we can consider. Now, for it is given for distinguished and exceptional service. That is the Padma Vibhushan. Now, what about Padma Bhushan? So it is given for distinguished service of higher order. Service, not necessarily service means you should be a servant, right, or government servant. It's service in general. So for distinguished service of higher order. And Padma Shri is for distinguished service. See, distinguished service is being considered. Distinguished service. Right. Then, if your service is of higher order, then Padma Bhushan. And if it is exceptional, right, distinguished is always there in each of these, and then you will be having the Padma Vibhushan. Now, in this particular case, what are the different fields which we can consider? Right. So Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan, Padma Shri for distinguished service of higher order, and distinguished and exceptional service. Right. ESI. Padma Shri is the fourth highest civilian award of India. Right. So for distinguished service in art, social work, then public affairs, science and engineering, trade and industry, field of medicine, literature and education, which one, Sahil? Padma Shri? Yes, literature and education. Answer to your question is yes. Yes, Karthik, it is. Literature and education, civil service, sports. It is very difficult to write each and every, so we can write it in a single word. Others. Right. So the Padma Awards, right, depending on your service in the these different fields, right, you will be awarded. Fine. So that would be the case which we can consider. Now see, for this, the committee is constituted by Prime Minister of India. Fine. And the awards are presented by President. See, all these awards are presented by the President of India. Committee is constituted by the Prime Minister of India. Fine. So these are the things which we can always consider. Now here the question comes in again, when did the Padma Vibhushan start, or all these start? So all were started in 1954, right? If we consider. Yes, in fact, I think at that time in 1954, the name of Padma Shri was not Padma Shri, something else was the name of that particular case. Right? So, as like Bharat Ratna, who were excuse me, who were the recipients, right? So 1954, or I can write here so that we become 1954 started, right? So if we consider the first one, Padma Vibhushan, so Zakir Hussain was the first recipient, right? In fact, if we consider actually the first recipient, as like there were 3 first recipients of Bharat Ratna, here there are 6 different recipients, right, which we can consider, right? So I think the 6 names were Zakir Hussain, Nandalal Bose, then Bahasaheb Gangadhar Kher, V.K. Krishna Menon, then Satyendranath Bose, and I think one more is Dorji Wangchuk. I think Dorji Wangchuk, right? So these were the 6 different names who got the who received the Padma Vibhushan in 1954. Fine. So if we consider that particular. Now, till date, how many total recipients are there? So more than 300 recipients of Padma Vibhushan are there. So I think to be precise, till 2019, 314, what we can consider, 314 recipients of Padma Vibhushan are there, among which 12 are posthumously and 19 are NRIs, right? Fine. If you consider that particular case, right, that is of Padma Vibhushan. Fine. I think, okay, I will write one name in this. Zakir Hussain. You know, he was the youngest, rather he is the youngest to receive Padma Vibhushan award, right? Yes, I got the name. Dorji Wangchuk, right, is the 6th name. Zakir Hussain, Nandalal Bose, Bahasaheb Kher, V.K. Krishna Menon, Satyendranath Bose, and Dorji Wangchuk. Right. So these were the different names. Fine. So this is about the Padma Vibhushan. Now, second one, which we can consider in this particular case is Padma Bhushan, right? So if you consider Padma Bhushan, so again it was started in 1954 till date. Okay, I will write it here. Till date, 314 have been awarded by Padma Vibhushan, and among which 19 are NRIs and 15 are posthumously. Fine. So this is about Padma Vibhushan. Now Padma Bhushan. So till date, 1254 recipients are there, right? Which we can consider in this particular case. I don't have exact statistics about how many of them are NRIs and how many are posthumously awarded. And then third one is Padma Shri. Fine. So in this particular case, if we consider Prakash Joshi, Padma Shri, Prakash Joshi was the first person to receive. But in my case, in my opinion, the single name may not be there, right? There might be other names, probably. Fine. So, which we can consider in this list. Fine. Padma Bhushan. I remember one name, I think two names. One is Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar. I think he is also having a Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar is a prize given for Indian scientists. Okay. So I think we will be coming across it. Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar was there, who was a recipient. Then Homi Jahangir Baba. Right. So Homi Baba was also there, who have received first Padma Bhushan. Then that I'm not able to collect the name of whatever he has written about Joshi. Right. But see, as for it is for sure that there are young number of recipients, maybe around 15, 16 recipients were there, right? Which we can consider. See, our who was the India's first controller? CAG, Controller and Auditor General. So he was also the recipient of the first, I can say, batch or the first occurrence. So V. Narhari Rao, right, for civil services, who later on then became India's first CAG. So there are different names which we can consider. Anyway, and for Padma Shri, See, till date there are 3,123 awardees are there, right? So among these, I think in the first batch, in my opinion, no, it was in 1957. So if I consider, I'm talking about Balbir Dosanjh, right? So who was the Olympic medal winner, right? That we can consider. Anyway, so let's. Can you guess who is youngest in this one? The statistics we do have. There are total 12 recipient for Padma Bhushan in 2020. Okay. See, in this particular case, so youngest is Sachin Tendulkar. Sachin Tendulkar is youngest, the youngest to receive the Padma Shri, and also youngest to receive the Bharat Ratna award as well, right? So these are some statistics which we can consider. Fine. Anyway, so this is about our Padma Awards, or the India's highest civilian awards. Fine. So always look back for the recent or the latest recipients of that particular award. Ultimately, it becomes the part of your current affairs, right? So you should not worry about that particular thing as well. Anyway, now next one we will consider in this particular is Bharatiya Jnanpith Award. Bharatiya Jnanpith Award. Fine. So Bharatiya Jnanpith Award. Next one, very important, instituted in 1965. 1965. It is being offered or honored to recognize the distinguished work in the field of language, right? So for distinguished work in any recognized language. So how many recognized languages are there? It's a question of remembrance as well as understanding. You have to answer it. My question is, how many recognized languages are there? Nobody? I think. Okay, I'm host, so if you answer, then I will definitely get. Okay, Sahil says 22. Says 22. Someone else? please someone else. Okay, Sahil and Shresh, do you think that really only 22? So these are the 22 languages which we have considered according to Constitution of India. Yes, Sahil, right. But uh, the base is that we do have 22 official languages, as we can say, right? Or these are the 22 languages which are according to the Constitution of India. But here I have slightly changed the scenario of the question. Fine. So here you have to think about one more thing. Don't you think that English is also recognized? Though it was not in the, I think at that time also I said that altogether 23 languages you can consider, but English is kept out of this, and we do have 22 according to the Constitution. And anyway, always keep in mind. So see, English is nothing but the language of communication, or the language of conveying all these things, right? Worldwide or globally, you can convey through that particular language. And no, in the world, 121 languages, though you consider, but here the question is, the basic question here is that though there are so many languages which we are not bound, but the whole world, right, knowingly, unknowingly is bound by the English, right? Or whenever you want to communicate globally, so at that time you will be having the English, the most convenient or the preferred, which you can rather at whatever the perception we have. No doubt there are some of the countries who are preferring their own language, right? Anyway, so we can have one more language, so it becomes 23 for this particular case. Now, if you consider the Jnanpith Award or Bharatiya Jnanpith Award, right? So it is awarded by Bharatiya Jnanpith. Bharatiya Jnanpith. Fine. And uh, presented annually. Presented annually. Fine. So if you consider the what we can consider, as I said already, I have discussed earlier it was said that the languages included in the 8th schedule of the Constitution, right, and along with the English. But here one thing is that it is not conferred or awarded posthumously. So no posthumous conferral is there, right? So it is always given for the living, right? So that could be the case which we can consider. Fine. I think there was a Shanti Prasad Jain and the Jain family who conceived an idea long back in 1961 about this particular. Right, so they have started thinking from 1961, but actually it has come in the in the actual sense in 1965. Right, so that was their own thing, that there should be an idea, or there should be a recognition for the best work in any of the Indian languages, right, or any of the recognized languages in India which we can consider. Fine. So this is about the Bharatiya Jnanpith Award. Fine. So always keep in mind distinguished work in any of the recognized language, right, as far as India is concerned. Fine. Then the next award comes in the Sahitya Academy Award. Fine. Sahitya Academy Award. Sahitya Academy Award. Now, if you consider again, it is a literary honor, right? So instituted in 1955. Instituted in 1955. It is given for an exclusive writing in any of the 23 languages, right? For any exclusive writing in, I will write 22 plus 1 languages. Fine. For any exclusive writing. Now see, just by saying exclusive writing will not be sufficient in order to understand it. So you can consider it is an literary honor, again given for the literature, right? So literary honor. Sahitya Academy is what? Sahitya Academy is nothing but India's National Academy of Letters, right? Who annually confers on the writers the most outstanding for the most outstanding book of the literary merit, right? Published in either of these languages. I think they are all also considering Rajasthani in this particular language, right? So 22 plus English plus Rajasthani, right? To the best of my remembers, this will be the case. No, award will be comprising a plaque and cash prize of around, I think, 1 lakh. Right. So the purpose of award is to recognize and promote the exclusive writing, that is the excellence in the Indian writing, right? Fine. So also in order to acknowledge new trends, right? So see, there are some of the authors who always come up with a new trend, right? काही लेखक स्वतःबरोबर एक नवीन ट्रेंड घेऊन येतात. So that is always being recognized or honored depending on its merit, right? Which is called a literary merit. So there may be possibility that someone from Maharashtra, someone from Uttar Pradesh will come up with the new trend of that particular writing, right? Which is making an impact on the society or on the impact of the educated generation, right? And so you cannot offer it to both of them. So you have to always have some merit, right? So that will be known as literary merit. And according to that, you will be always offering or you will always conferring it. But it is always conferred annually, right? So I will write it. Conferred annually. Fine. This is the important thing which we can consider. Okay. So this is about the Sahitya Academy Award. You can consider the recipients of this particular award. So there are some other awards which are called Saraswati Samman, Vyas Samman, Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar, R.D. Birla, Kalinga Prize, Dhanvantari Award, Arjun Award, then Dronacharya Award, Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award, Dada Saheb Phalke Award, Dhyanchand Award. Right. So these are the some of the awards which have left in this particular list. We will be considering them, right? So that we will have a comprehensive list of the awards and honors which are recognized in the world, right? In the different fields or the events which we can consider. I think we are at the end of this session. I think maybe 1 or 2 minutes have left. Anything which you would like to know? Because today we have gone rapidly. I think some of you like this, some of you might, or few of you might not like this. But I have, rather we have no option. Otherwise, we will be unnecessarily spending the time, right, on the points which you can cover. So you can have a screenshot of this. Okay.